destruction. The third path of Amphoreus, and the path aimed at purifying the universe through annihilation. After witnessing the tyranny of Rupert I and the absolute carnage caused by the swarm disaster, an Aeon born of devastation ascended to become what we now know as Naaaah, a force with the sole goal of destroying all things, including the self. And from this universal menace, we have witnessed the threats like the Doomsday Beast and the Antimatter Legion, but most notably, the Lord Ravagers, aka Emanators of Destruction. And yes, these are full-fledged Emanators, not the pseudo-Emanators like the Cornerstones, and not the Genius Society members. Just Herta and Dr. Primitive are the erudition Emanators from the Genius Society that we know of. The rest are not. Because receiving the gaze of an Aeon does not make someone an Emanator. No. It's not that simple. Becoming an Emanator means that you embody the will of said Aeon to the point that they allow you direct access to a portion of their power. And it's precisely that fact that makes them the threats that they are. And it just so happens that one of them is on Amphoreus. But which one? Well, I believe that I've got an answer for that question. Because this is the Amphoreus Lord Ravager revealed. Okay, but before we cut to the chase here, we gotta understand what exactly a Lord Ravager is. Well, these monsters are beings Naaaah saw potential in like any other Aeon, and chose them by branding them with his mark, which destroyed them of course, and he recast them in the fires of the Warforge, a gaseous planet of lava. And through this process, their inadequacies are refined with antimatter, which makes them also members of the Antimatter Legion. So it looks like Fu Li isn't the only one who recreates their followers. But trust me, these guys are way more of a threat than any memo keeper could ever hope to be. Because as stated in my ranking the Emanators video that got way more views than I expected it to, I ranked the Destruction Emanators #1 as the strongest known Emanators in the entire universe. And for good reason. These guys are strong and have feats so terrifying that we have no possible way to even begin to combat them. And they all represent a different kind of destruction, and through their tendencies and confirmed feats, I believe we can make an educated guess at which one is on Amphoreus. Their names are Phantylia, Irontomb, Selenova, Zafro, and Sun Devourer. There's also Zulo, but he's dead. The Galaxy Rangers killed him, with Selenova being his replacement. So let's look into these Lord Ravagers and so-called strongest Emanators, shall we? The first of which we know very well, and I won't bother going into deep detail, the embodiment of Hoyoverse's intense hatred of Fox girls, Phantylia. Yay. The weakest of all the Destruction Emanators by far, and the one that we were very lucky to run into first. Y'all know the deal with her by now. Heliobus feeds on emotions, possesses people, causes pain, self-destruction specialist, in control of both abundance and destruction, and uses them both at once. We know her, we hate her, and she's probably not an Amphoreus. So let's move on. Because getting into the real threats on this list is Irontomb, who I like to refer to as the Hersher of corruption. And I will explain exactly why. Because you see, Irontomb is one of Nanook's favorite weapons. Because when trying to destroy a world, sometimes the world is very advanced. Like Glamoth, for example. And they can just develop high-tech means of solving problems and combat a world-ending threat like an Emanator. I mean, with technology out there like the imaginary implosion pulse, it would be very difficult for the forces of the Antimatter Legion to even come close to penetrating their defenses. But this is where Irontomb comes in. This guy possesses hacking abilities that would make Silverwolf and Skrullum fall to their knees in reverence. Because for a world relying on advanced technology, this would quickly become their downfall. Because Irontomb specializes in dismantling technologically advanced worlds and turning their creations and millennia of achievements against them, causing a total collapse of not only all types of AI, but also all sources of intellectual advancement. The only known report of Irontomb's aftermath is the Baronza Forge, a place known for manufacturing synesthesia beacons. And let's just say it was so bad that they had to ask the Garden of Recollection to help piece together whatever they could to salvage the lost technology. This guy aims to send you back to the Stone Age, and will use your own achievements to do so. And I think it is very possible for this guy to be on Amphoreus, and for good reason, because as we know, it is blatantly thrown in our faces that the Flame Chasers mirror the ones from Honkai Impact 3rd. And we also have strong parallels with Herta being similar in nature to Emanators. And it just so happens that the Flame Chasers of Honkai Impact 3rd faced off with a Herta that could take control of technology and use it to destroy humanity. This was the Herta of Corruption, a threat that not only destroyed multiple cities with nuclear bombs that Phil V created, but also led to the destruction of the Elysian Realm, the realm of memories isolated from the world housing the simulations of all 13 Flame Chasers. You see how this sounds eerily similar to Amphoreus? The realm of memories also isolated from the universe. So with all this in mind, this Lord Ravager could be Irontomb, but I'm not entirely convinced, so let's move on. The next is Nanook's other favorite weapon, or should I say general in this case, Selenova, who I swear I have no relation to. You see, Selenova is the strategic mastermind of the Destruction Emanators. She is such a threat that a normal Void Ranger is capable of causing massive damage under her command. Her specialty is the fact that she has complete control over the Antimatter Legion and is able to control them to such a degree that there are no communication delays. Almost like she controls them with her mind or something. But we aren't talking Titania levels of telepathy. We are talking like straight up puppet master type stuff. Her tactics are so unheard of that they are considered theoretical. She is definitely one of the strongest Lord Ravagers. However, I do not believe that she has anything to do with Amphoreus. Because even though she is a massive threat, she's also the most reasonable and has even requested a ceasefire with the Shanzhou Juming in the past, because they needed to combine forces in order to defeat the Abundance's Wingweavers, a species that keeps coming up for some reason. Maybe I'll make a video on them. Anyway, Selenova seems way too smart to ever get sealed on Amphoreus. There's also no traces of her behavior on Amphoreus, so let's move on. And escalating things to the most dangerous of the Lord Ravagers, none other than the reason they got the top spot in the rankings, Zafro. This guy is a one-man army that has the raw destructive power to blow up planets, and he uses it to his heart's content. He does not need a team, a plan, a method, just pure madness. Zafro is absolutely unhinged in every possible way. He is so out of his mind that he sees beauty in destruction. In fact, he thinks something in the moment of its destruction is the most beautiful thing in the world. So yeah, he blows up planets for the love of the game. But apparently he got too excited one day while inside the Naaaah galaxy and blew up the entire galaxy, which is the most destructive feat known to this game. He somehow toppled Rubert 1's feet in the Laurel Wreath galaxy. Instead of destroying all organic life, he decided to be inclusive and leave nothing left. So the Naaaah galaxy no longer exists in every way. And I also think there is no possible way that Zafro is on Amphoreus. Because I know my theory is that Amphoreus doesn't exist, but if Zafro was there, neither would we. So let's move on to the next Lord Ravager. And as the last Lord Ravager on this list, I think I found our culprit. Because while Irontomb makes a strong point with being similar to the Herta of Corruption, Sun Devourer is the single Lord Ravager that matches Amphoreus with his pattern of behavior. Let me explain. You see, the Sun Devourer isn't his name. It is a title given to this individual for his feats of extinguishing stars en masse. Because unlike all the other Lord Ravagers on this list, Sun Devourer doesn't necessarily do things himself. He blows up stars, then sends in the Antimatter Legion to do his dirty work. Which makes sense, because the sun is the life giver, and nothing can really survive without a sun. But this is where things start to match up with Amphoreus. Because, you see, this world doesn't have a day-night cycle. That is a factor that is emphasized a lot. We know for a fact that this world does not have a sun, or at least they used to. But one day, it disappeared, forcing Kefali to dedicate his existence to holding up the Dawn device. But Nova, you say? Aquila, the Sky Titan, gives light to this world, and this Titan has since shut many of its eyes, depriving the world of light. And to this I reply, do we know this for sure? Because due to a certain blasphemer's discovery, we have learned that the entire creation story of Amphoreus is nothing but a myth. Humanity wasn't created by the Titans, nor did the Titans give humanity the ability to love, think, or feel. The Titans merely presided over the concepts. None of them are exactly supernatural at all. They were all originally humans, and at their core are still humans. So what if I told you that Aquila isn't the reason why this world went dark, but a threat from beyond the sky, a threat that blew out their sun and left them to struggle in darkness. And after Kefali dedicates his existence to holding up the Dawn device, another threat descends from beyond the sky, known as the Black Tide. A threat with enemies that quite literally share the same model as the Antimatter Legion Void Rangers attack this world, slowly destroying it with an endless wave of faceless enemies. Now, doesn't that sound like Sun Devourer's pattern of behavior? Extinguishes the sun, then sends in the Antimatter Legion, aka the Black Tide. I would say that this is possibly Selenova's work, but the Black Tide is not nearly as organized as her forces are known to be, so that disqualifies her again. And no other Lord Ravager has anything to do with this constantly emphasized fact that this world has no light outside of the Dawn device, because their sun was devoured and the Antimatter Legion was sent to finish the job. And because of this, I believe that this is the Amphoreus Lord Ravager revealed. Or I could be completely wrong. It could be Irontomb, it would match the Flame Chaser story, or it could be someone we've never seen before, because I've only talked about 5 and there are supposed to be 7. And the fact that we don't know about them could be the fact that they've been sealed on Amphoreus this whole time. We don't know. Also, Lygus could be lying, and there could be just no Lord Ravager here at all, and he's just trying to scare away Herta, which isn't going to work. This woman looks Aeons in the face and says, get in line. There's no scaring her. And Amphoreus has piqued her interest, so now there's no getting rid of her. Good luck, Lygus. This dude thinking he's special because he got gazed at by Noose. Boy, Herta has received the gaze of 2, possibly 3 different Aeons, and has mastered at least 2 paths, both of which run this particular world: Remembrance and Erudition. And it just so happens that the third one, Destruction, Herta has already defeated the Antimatter Legion 19 times. She could blow up this entire planet Zafro style if she felt like it. That's not glaze, that's confirmed feats. And I am so glad she's here, because if she wasn't, we wouldn't stand a chance against any Lord Ravagers unless Welt finally decided to lock in. But what do you guys think? Be sure to let me know, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace, y'all. By the way, Albert confirmed that this is Prime Welt Yang in his Keeping Up with Star Rail. I'm not glazing Welt either. That's just how strong he is currently. He's not washed, he's holding back.
As Welt steps eagerly into this new adventure, he finally has the chance to demonstrate the power he possessed in his prime.